I'm really pleased to introduce these two teacher leaders that have been instrumental in supporting outdoor education before it was ever in the curriculum. I found myself at the district learning commons in a situation once that really required somebody who could dig down and make us all safe and help with the protocol for decommissioned firearms. And he has the right name, Mark Hunter, as bugging him before, and James Kondradak. And I would like to introduce the two of them and the amazing job they did. And although this course has been running, I think they've got some exciting in the past. We're looking at the new curriculum, and the alignment that these two gentlemen did just shows the dedication and the passion they have for outdoor education.
Come on down, gentlemen.
It's gonna be just one.
Okay, just you.
Hello, my name is Mark Hunter. So presenting about the environmental ed course. This course has actually been running at Kelly Road and then STKR since the 1970s. It was started up there by Mike Keeling way back when. And then when he retired back in the 90s, the principal at the time basically went to him and said, hey, who can take this over? And I got tapped on the shoulder for it. So it's been a great course to teach. It's been a fun course to teach on a number of different fronts. So the environmental education course is built around the BC Wildlife Federation's core hunter training course. And this course is required by all people in BC who want to get their hunter's license. So I find that for STKR, it's an important course to offer. We usually run it about every second year. There's a large number of students that attend that school, and I think also are in the district as well, at other high schools that do come from a hunting background, where their family has members in it that harvest animals for food and sustenance and all that. On top of that, the curriculum of the course, I believe, is good in that it helps students to learn and develop traits and behaviors and characteristics that will really help them in society and be a benefit to society on many different fronts. And as I go through the different kind of core or topics within this program, I'll touch on that as well. So it is, why is that saying later? Sorry, it's telling me I'm muted, but okay. So the course is broken down now into 7 main topics. The last one, the BC Wildlife Federation has added in recognition of the work with First Nations and recognition and respect to their ancestral lands and stuff. So the first one though is conservation. So conservation, the students learn about the importance of conserving resources in general, not just wildlife, but all resources, whether it's lumber, whether it's mining, stuff like that. And it really focuses on the fact that by using practices that conserve and the importance of it, of conserving these resources, they are there for future generations, which I think is a driving thing in BC with our natural resources. Management plans and stuff like that, of making this always available, whatever the resource is, for the future, and the importance of that. It also teaches them to look ahead to their own potential children in the future, and going, you know, I enjoy doing this, my parents enjoy doing this, I want to be able to help say that I help maintain this resource for the benefit of my children as well, and so forth. Then goes into ethics and laws. We look at what are the laws around hunting, the importance of those laws around hunting, but then also, I think almost more importantly, into the ethics around hunting. So those rules that aren't in laws, but actually demonstrate wise and good use of resources, behavior, and stuff like that. And again, so looking forward to these students becoming adult members of our society, is it's teaching them the ethics of what does it mean to behave respectfully to the environment, and show that respect not only to people who other hunters, but also to non-hunters and to, like I say, to the environment in general. The third topic that we cover off has to do with safety, looking at safety plans, what to do in the environment, in the wild if you do become lost, and that sort of stuff, which again is moving forward and teaching them to look ahead, plan for the worst, and always have that plan in place so that if something does happen, you're prepared for it. The next unit looks at firearm safety. So again, just what do we use to hunt with? Why do we use it? Why do we put why are there restrictions on firearms types for specific animals? And again, it's about respecting wildlife, and that when we go and hunt and go to harvest an animal, we want to do it in a way that is as humane as possible. Part of this as well, throughout this course, we look at the importance of hunting in terms of maintaining wildlife populations. Because one of the thoughts out there is, and not so much I think in Prince George, but in potentially larger urban areas, that hunting isn't a respectful thing. It's not a useful type of management tool and stuff like that. And as also a biology teacher, I teach that, well, when we look at evolution and population dynamics and stuff, there's always more offspring born in the spring than can survive through the winter. And so we talk about, you know, if you want to talk about humanity of going out and harvesting an animal, is that more humane compared to letting them starve because of lack of food during the winter? Because that's what harvest limits are based on. It's not a roll the dice and pick a number. It's based on a science, and teaching students that is what this is based on. And so giving them the knowledge of being able to justify and explain to others the importance of hunting within our province. And sorry, back to the firearm safety stuff. Also, just how do we safely store firearms? How do we respect that? How do we prevent potential accidents from happening in the home through safe use and storage? 5 and 6 are kind of tied together: animal identification and then game bird identification. And so again, it's identifying how do we go through the process of making sure that what we're going to harvest is actually legal, and teaching the kids patience. And that is a big thing. Not just to go, hey, something's moving in the bush, but to take the time to identify it, to be patient and make sure of yourself and the surroundings of that it is safe to harvest. Because sometimes, you know, you see something and it's not safe because of what's behind. And to be able to make that choice and to be willing to make that choice to do what's safe. And the last unit, and this is the new one that's been added in 2021 to the course, is looking at Indigenous hunting in BC. And it's looking at what are the ancestral rights of Indigenous peoples in this province. How is hunting tied to their culture, to the history, and the importance of that to them and to their culture, and maintaining cultural identity through that. Yeah, so that's kind of what the course is about. At the end of it, the benefits to it I see is, 1, it's a grad credit, it's a grade 10 course. 2, it teaches them some of the behaviors, hopefully, that are beneficial to society. I am a certified as well examiner for the core hunter training. So at the end of it, I can certify them to get their core certificate, or the paperwork so that they can apply for their core certificate, which then allows them to get their hunting license and species tags if they choose to go down that pathway and become an active hunter in our province. I stress to students who take the course, you don't desire to do that regardless of if your desire isn't to get into hunting, the knowledge is still good. How to be safe in the environment, how to be respectful to the environment, respectful to people whose lands you might be on, and all that as well. That is all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Hunter?
I do, if I get this thing working.
Yeah, go ahead, Trustee Mahoney.
There we go. I'm new at this. Was this, this has been run in prior years?
Yes.
Was it run last year?
Yes, it was
And how many students went through it?
26, I think I had.
26. And are you the only instructor for this?
No, in terms of the school district, I believe I'm the only examiner, certified examiner. So depending upon our, the layout of our school org plan in terms of courses being taught, on years where I can't teach because it backs onto one of the courses that I do teach, mainly the senior biology classes, Mr. Kondratuk will teach it instead. Yeah, he has a hunting background as well and all that. The course material doesn't have to be taught by an instructor. You can actually challenge the examinations for this if you so desire to, like in a public setting.
No.
But the certification has to come through an examiner.
And I'm assuming you would have students from different schools.
There are other schools, I believe, that do still teach this as well. Yeah, I believe Mr. Campbell at DP Todd, or Mr. Lawrence, sorry, at DP Todd. Yeah, has run it as well.
And what school is that?
DP Todd, correct? Yeah, DP Todd.
Okay, so it's not being put through every school.
No, I think in order to teach the course effectively, you yourself have to have an interest in hunting and stuff like that, to bring that firsthand knowledge to the course when you go through talking about ethics and laws and stuff like that.
I think this is valuable.
It's not that it's not that it can't be offered at any course. There has to be someone there who's willing to teach.
And it is part of the curriculum? No,
Sorry?
it's not part of the curriculum.
So are you asking whether, yeah, this is a board approved part of the curriculum for credits? Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
But it's not eligible to all students.
What?
As
Well,
it stands right
it's
now.
available to all students at our school. It's available to all students who at a school that runs the course.
Right, but they have to have an instructor.
They have to have an instructor.
And that's what I'm trying to drive at.
Yeah.
They have to have an instructor. So that's where we're going to be downfall to get all the students participating in a course like this. So maybe in time.
Yep.
What is your projections for students in the upcoming year?
I think next year we're not running it because the projection is 13 students. And like I said, typically we run this course every second to third year when there's enough students that sign up for it. And we let the students know that because it's a grade 10 credit, we often have grade 9 students in it as well. And that's why, and it totally depends. Some years we've run it where back-to-back years we've run it. It totally depends on how many students sign up for the course during course selection.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Chair, can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead, Trustee Thompson.
One of the things, and I've taken core hunter a number of times, and I'm not a hunter, but I think one of the most valuable parts of that training and presumably of this course is going to be gun safety. Making sure that you're storing your weapons properly, that your ammunition is separate from your weapons, that you have trigger locks and a safe storage area. So I think that in North American culture, there's a lot of glorification of guns and they're dangerous things. So useful tools, but dangerous. So I think just like when you teach students in a shop class not to cut their fingers off with a saw, teaching them to be safe with firearms, I think is very important. And at that age, I think that's learning that will stick. So I really appreciate that this is going to be, or has been and is going to continue to be taught in the school district. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Thompson. Any other? Go ahead, Pam.
I started my practicum with Doug Waller, who taught this course actually. So it was part of my teaching that I had to learn as well. And I just received my PAL this year. So it was amazing learning the safety and the different kinds of guns that you can work with. And my oldest daughter is a hunter, and how valuable this would be for kids in the school district, as well as when you have to have credit package for Indigenous courses, I could see how this could be tied to the land and have Indigenous ways of knowing if 2 of the 4 credits we could be working with elders. And when we talk about Clately and the KO and the territory and really bringing in that learning about the KOs in the area and how did they treat hunting and it ties into the Backlat system and different things like that. So I could see how we could really work with that and make it a 2 credit towards the Indigenous bundle.
Trustee, go ahead, trustee.
I would be interested in hearing what the feedback from students who have completed the program give.
From the students who've come back and talked to me, they've always enjoyed the course. They've learned a lot through it. They like the ability to take the course for credit rather than having to pay for it, because that is one of the other things, is that in order to take this, if they were to take this course through a private instructor, someone out in the general public, the examinations alone, even if they were just to challenge it, the examinations alone the cost of those are set by the BC Wildlife Federation at $30 per exam. There's 2 exams, a written and a practical exam. So it's a $60 cost just to challenge it. Yeah, on top of then, if they do take the full weekend course, they pay whatever the instructor is charging for that. Whereas this, they don't pay for it, they get credit for it. Yeah. And sorry.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Superintendent Hyman.
Hit it. Oh, I'm messing you up.
Are you? Oh, are you messing me up? Oh, look at that. You are. I just want to acknowledge this course and this offering as one of those things we do in our system to provide equity. When I think about just what Mark was talking about in terms of the cost, and for kids to be able to access this type of training on their own, there could be a cost barrier. Not only is it paid for, but they're getting high school credit towards graduation for it. I also think about some of our kids who are interested in hunting. And I'll just use a personal experience. This is not something I would ever think to sign my child up for, but I can tell you he would greatly appreciate this opportunity. So when we look at these kinds of authorized courses that we're bringing forward, what it keeps coming to me over and over again is the opportunities for equity that we're providing our kids who would not normally have this opportunity to take this type of course. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that, because we know that's something we value and we're working greatly towards. And as Pam mentioned, when we think about opportunities and being able to bundle this to provide interest to even more students from the equity lens, this is awesome. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any other questions or comments? Chair Warrington, I see your hand up.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. My husband keeps telling me I need to get my PAL, and I have not done that. However, what I'm very impressed with, though, is the fact that this is all about valuing the environment that we live in. And these young people learn that how important it is that they are good stewards of the environment as hunters. And I do agree with what Pam has said, that this is a wonderful opportunity to look at how over the many thousands and thousands of years, Indigenous people have been stewards of the land and have valued the harvesting of animals and the environment that they live in, caring for it. So I can't see, this is a wonderful opportunity that can be offered in all schools. And I just was at BGSS and dropped into the fly fishing course. And I thought, here again, the examples of how we're expanding the learning opportunities for students in such a wide range of ways that they are excited to come to school. They're excited to be part of this kind of a learning experience. And they get to go out on the land. I'm assuming, Mark, that they have opportunities to go out on the land as well in your course.
Yeah,
Could you expand on that?
Yeah, often when we get the chance to, and I can get the volunteer, whoever's running it, running the course that year, gets a chance to, we do often go out to the Rod and Gun Club. So the students do get hands-on experience with a couple different types of firearms, and different calibers of firearms. Yeah.
Thank you. Trustee Mahoney, you have a follow-up?
I do. I agree with Cindy 100% on this. I think it's very important. I also, Pam, I think it'd be wonderful if we can work it into the Indigenous part of it, to show good faith or whatever the case, because we are going to have difficulties down the road, but something like this would be fantastic. Mark, you got my support.
So with that in mind, I would, oh, do we have a, yes?
Just as a
Deb.
point of the board, I'm going to use good voice. For folks that are new, if you look at the back, the description of the course, the board authorized course, it fully meets the criteria the ministry asks. So if you look, it's laid out in the curriculum format. And so before it comes to this committee and moves to the board, it has been vetted. And so the work of the teachers on this curriculum is such that it is ready to go forward as a board authorized course. So just so you know, there's been some rigor on behalf of the teachers to get the course ready to be considered for a board authorized course. And that's in the details in the back of the package. So it's a standard practice. Once the board moves it to the board meeting, then it's approved and we send it to the ministry and it becomes an approved board authorized course. Just for new folks to this process, I just wanted to make sure you can see that that homework has been done.
And the ministry pays for all this, right?
Thank you, Deb, for that information. Yeah, and I was just looking at the curricular competencies and you know, respect for the environment, respect for wildlife, respect for laws, and personal and social responsibility. And you touched on all that in your presentation. So thank you very much. So with that in mind, if there's no further questions as we move along in the agenda, I'll entertain a recommendation to move this forward to the board. Trustee
So moved,
Mahoney,
Chair.
second by Trustee Thompson. Thank you very much. And thank you for the presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.